I just looked outside and it's really, really nice weather. So I'm just going to go for a quick walk to wake up. Good morning, ladies. It is December 1st, the first day of December, and the first day of Vlogmas. So it is very exciting. My first Vlogmas video, and I have some very bad news, which is okay. As you may know, in my last video, I decided I wanted to knit a Christmas sweater and do that for Vlogmas, and then hopefully at the end of Vlogmas have a finished Christmas sweater. And I picked a pattern, I picked yarn, and I ordered it immediately. That was last week on Wednesday, and the yarn's not here. So I'm expecting it to come somewhere this week. However, it is not here, which is a real shame because it means I can't start. It's not terrible. I have enough knitting to work on, so that's fine. But the yarn's not here. In the meantime, I've set up my Christmas tree in the living room, but I'm not going to put in any decorations yet. I'm waiting for my son to get home from school this afternoon, and then we can put the decoration in together. So I'm hoping that'll be nice. I'm just going to drink some coffee and start, I'll do some knitting. It's 11 o'clock. Really, I should be going to the supermarket, get food for this week, but I just cannot be asked at the moment. So I'm just going to have some coffee and do some knitting, and maybe I'll find the motivation to do some shopping. This is my very exciting, not Senseo coffee machine. It was actually my mum's. I specifically say my mum's because my mum loved red kitchen appliances. All the stuff in the kitchen was red. My mum passed away a couple of years ago, and then my stepdad passed away last year. And so I have a very tiny apartment, but I do have quite a bit of their stuff because I just could not let it go. This coffee machine is absolutely nothing special. It is not in any way good. I drink decaf, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it was my mum's, and I'm using one of her Christmas mugs. Yeah, I have some of her mugs just because she had so many mugs. I do not, because it just won't fit in my kitchen. But I have this one. So we're just making some coffee and then on to knit. This is a sweater I'm currently working on. It's just a regular Flax sweater by Tin Can Knits. And I'm making it for my son. And my plan is to make a Weasley sweater. So I'm just going to knit a big plain jumper, and I'm going to embroider his initial on the front. Now, I have a little bit of a problem with that. My son's name starts with an O. Imagine it's Owen. It's not Owen, but imagine it. The letter O, it also looks like a circle, which means that if I were to embroider this on the sweater, I need to take very good care that it doesn't look like a circle. So if anybody has any tips of a good looking O, I would be very grateful for that. So this is what I'm knitting on currently. I have some more knits actually. I recently finished this thing. And this doesn't look like anything, I realise that. The plan was to make it some sort of cardigan type thing, like this, and then it would be stitched together here and it would be warm. I don't know. I don't know about this at all. Actually, I might unravel this and use the yarn for something else. Although the thing is, I have somewhere here. Can't find it, obviously. There is a small ball of yarn left that I can use for seaming this. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in the house. Doesn't matter. It was not enough to make sleeves or anything. But I'm also thinking maybe it's like nice to do some sort of, oh, I don't know what it's called. So I'm not a sewist, is that the word? I don't sew very much, but there is a stitch where it looks like you're making a little bridge. Is that a whip stitch? A mattress stitch? I don't know. Anyway, I was thinking of maybe sort of stitching around with like an orange yarn to make it look really handmade. I don't think I'll like it very much. I'm really thinking I need to unravel this. This is really nice Daughter of a Shepherd, very rustic yarn. And it's just a shame to have something that you're probably not going to wear at all anyway. Oh, this is nice. Looks like I have a jumper or something. I don't know. Anyway, so that's something that's been living on my couch for a while because I just don't know what to do with it. Do you have that where you don't know what to do with a certain project and it just kind of lives somewhere in your house? I have another pair of socks I'm working on, but they're over in the other corner of the house and I don't want to grab them at the moment. They're just some regular socks. I'll show them to you at some point. But for now we can just knit on this. I'm using this wonderful spindle thing. It's not a spindle. It's like a yarn turny thing. I don't know what the name is. Anyway, my boyfriend made this by hand because he had this rod and I thought it looked like one of those contraptions, and it has a ball bearing thing inside that's actually used for skateboards. So it spins really smoothly, really nice. And then you can just pop your yarn on it and then it'll just, so easily the yarn glides off. So I guess my tip would be find yourself a partner that makes things as well. That's the best. So, talking about making things, I printed this little star stitch marker yesterday evening, which is so great about having a 3D printer, is that you can just print your own knitting items. Yeah, oh, coffee. I'll cut that out. If I don't forget. Someone was complaining on Instagram this morning that they didn't want to see people drinking coffee or tea or iced coffee or other things in their videos, in their knitting videos. So sorry about that. I'll probably forget and leave this in anyway. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't get very upset about people drinking. I don't think it's anything to really get upset about, but you know, whatever you want. It's really nice to knit on this. I've been thinking, does I knit, is that English style or continental style? I honestly, I feel like I have a knit for a little bit and then I feel like I've forgotten all the terminology. Anyway, I hold the working yarn in my right hand and then I flick it round. And I always feel like I could knit faster if I tried knitting it the other way, but I just don't like it very much because I can hold it like this and then sort of scoot the yarn up to the top, and then it's more like picking it. And I'm sure I'd get faster at it if I practice. I just feel like this doesn't feel like knitting to me. It's like you're just picking up the yarn, and I feel like flicking it around just feels more like knitting to me. I don't know. It I guess it's just what you're used to. I knitted when I was 9 years old. My mum would knit Barbie outfits for us, and then my Dutch grandma used to knit, and then my British grandma also knit. My British grandma was also very... I remember coming to her house and she would we would go raspberry picking and making raspberry pie, and then we would go to the garden and find lavender, and we would grab the sewing machine and make those little pouches with lace to put the lavender in and put them in the airing cupboard. And my mum was very, very creative. She was always drawing, and which is something I can't do, by the way. I'm a terrible artist. My drawings are always terrible. If I draw people, their hands look like brooms. I feel like I learned how to knit. I learned how to draw when I was like 6 years old, and it just has never really evolved from there. But yeah, as a 9-year-old, I saw my mum knitting, and I was like, I want to do that as well. And she would just give me some of her crappy needles and crappy yarn and just show me how to do it. And I was always a bit annoyed because she would make beautiful things and then my things would look ugly. I guess that's just kind of like the phase you're in when you're a small child. Your motor skills are different to that of an adult. I'm always struggling with like before I go to the grocery shop, I have sort of almost like anxiety because I don't particularly like cooking like grown-up food. I'll do cakes, and I think that's fun. And then with cakes, I just mean things like an apple crumble, or not mince pies, but the other ones, scones. I like making scones and apple crumble, things like that. Cheesecake. I think that's like easy, but then having like an adult dinner, I just find it massively difficult to decide what I'm going to make. And because I feel like because it contains so many different moving parts, right? If you're having like a standard dinner, it's like potatoes, vegetable, meat, and it all has different cooking times and things like that. And then you need to think about flavors and spices and things that go together and things that don't go together. But when you're making a cake, it's all sort of like it comes together to this one thing. And I think that's just something that my brain deals with a lot easier. And then I've convinced myself I'm just bad at cooking, and then I don't like it because of that. And then I just get anxiety about going to the supermarket, and I just don't know what to go for the shop. So now I'm thinking, it's Monday. What is a good thing for Monday evening for dinner? I really should just make a list of things that I know how to make and then plan out accordingly. And then it's going to the shops is not so much as a mystery of I have no idea what I'm doing. I'll figure out what I'll come home to, or what I come home with. It'll be a surprise for everybody. Or But then if you've planned it out, it's more like, I just need this, 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 this. I'm just going to get those things. And then if the supermarket doesn't have it, it's fine, right? There's like a million supermarkets around here. I live in the city, so there's like tons of things to find. I do actually not like going to smaller city supermarkets because it's just sort of, I don't know, they're always so tiny and it feels like you're kind of squeezed in with everybody and I don't like it. I should look for a better supermarket where I can just drive and then do a big shop all in one go, load everything in the car and then have it over and done with. I mean, online shopping would obviously be the best, but I do have time to go to the supermarket, so I might as well. Yeah. So this is really, really boring because I've done all the interesting parts of knitting the yoke and adding the texture for the shoulders and binding off the sleeves, and now it's just the rest of the body, and it's not very exciting, but I'll get there. I do think though, because I started this project with leftover yarn and this is all I have left. This is never going to be enough for the rest of this sweater. So it does mean that I have to go out and get more yarn. Just really annoying, but oh well. Because I have so much yarn. So my first plan was to just knit like a patchwork sweater with just different kinds of colours. And I did, and I didn't like it at all. And I was like, I'm not going to give this to my child to wear because he will, because he is so, you know, he's so nice and he'll feel like, oh, mummy knit this for me, so I should wear it. Because that's just the type of kid that he is. But I just didn't like it. I was like, no, I'm not going to make him wear that. So I pulled it out, frogged it, and now I'm just knitting a flax sweater. And I have some gold acrylic yarn that I can use to make the initial on the front, the O for Owen, not his name. And I think it will be a cute Weasley sweater. Do people still do those? Probably not. I can remember like a couple of years ago, before Corona, Harry Potter was such a massive, massive deal in the knitting community. And I feel that's definitely, I think there's lots of things from like years ago that have sort of dropped off in popularity. I think people have started knitting sort of plain beige sweaters more, which is not, you know, they're more wearable. So obviously that's, you know, you want to spend time on something that you'll in the end actually wear quite a bit. But it is less fun than knitting crazy faded neon coloured sweaters. What else was super popular? Like fringe bags. I have like loads and I love them. But that company doesn't even exist anymore. But it was like a massive thing at some point. I even have it's so terrible. I have the black tartan fringe. That was like wildly popular. I barely use it. I think that has sort of taught me. I have so many project bags. There's no way I'll buy another project bag, I think, anytime soon. I'll make one myself, but I won't buy one. But I think that has really taught me, like, how many project bags do I have in my cupboard that I just do not use? Like, how many projects can you even be knitting on at the same time? I mean, okay, so maybe it's 5, maybe it's 4 or 5, something like that. But then okay, you have 4 or 5 project bags, but I have way more than that. And I think there was this sort of like moment in time where people were really just going ham and watching knitting videos and knitting podcasts on YouTube and seeing people having insane yarn stashes and just having new yarn, new sock color, like hand-dyed sock yarn every week, and every sock project had a new project bag. And I think people were really sort of sucked into that lifestyle, even if they couldn't really afford it. And if you could afford it, like in the end, what does it get you? I have like so many project bags I don't use. I have so many skeins of yarn that I would love to knit at some point, but I just don't really know what to make of it, because there's quite a bit of them that are just, it's like 1 or 2 skeins. I dropped my stitch marker. There's like 1 or 2 skeins of something, some particular yarn that is like either very fluffy or something else, you know, not very, you know, if you have like a big stash of like regular worsted weight yarn, you could, like something like this, you can just make sweaters out of it and it's fine. But if you have like a bunch of different types of yarn with, like, why do I have like two, I'm looking at my little stash box, like 2 chunky yarns that are super neon-y, and then I see 2 light pink linen yarns, and then there's like some grey, like air blown, what's that? Blown yarn. There's nothing like it. There's nothing that ties these things together. So I feel like as a knitting community, we have gotten better with not buying so much crazy stuff. But maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm imagining it. Maybe it's just because I just don't care that much anymore about what other people are buying. And I don't really care about keeping up with other people's yarn stash and project bag collections and things like that. Maybe it's because I'm 45 and I just don't give a crap about other people anymore anyway. Or maybe, and I hope it's the last one, I've just, you know, I know better now and I just make things that I like, buy things that I would like to work with. Really, I think I need to go through my yarn stash, and things that I'm just never going to use, I need to just gift it, take it to a thrift shop this week and get rid of it. Because what is it doing here? It's just sitting in my house taking up space. And also it's in the back of your mind somewhere that you have something that is taking up space and you kind of feel guilty about it, and it's not worth it really. I've already, because I had 3 giant tubs of yarn and I've already reduced it to 2. So I already have a lot less yarn than I used to. But yeah, there are some bags of yarn roaming around in the living room. I have a coffee table that is like 2 sections, so you can shove project bags and yarn and other things underneath it. It's a good table. It's a good table, but also I can just pull random skeins of mohair out of it, or random like fluffy yarn that I've used to make pumpkins for Halloween. And then I lost steam and now I have this left and just don't know what to do with this really. Are you like that? Like, do you have just skeins and project bags and things sort of like tucked away and hidden where in the place that you knit. I'm very curious if it's just me. Just have so much crap. Or if this is a regular thing that all knitters have. Reminds me of that Sex and the City episode where Carrie had stored all her sweaters in the oven because she didn't use her kitchen anyway. I won't do that. I don't have yarn in my kitchen, don't worry. What should I make for dinner tonight? Don't know. This is a coffee table, by the way. So this is stuff that you can just store underneath, and then there's more storage at the top.